Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be testing out the new Pure Aero. I actually got early access to this, which I'm super excited about. So thank you to the folks at Babolat UK and also to the folks in Ireland, Rackets IE, for making this possible. I have the 100 square inch version today that I'm going to be playing with. And what I'll do is I will explain how I feel using it in the court, in my rallies, serve, maybe some points footage as well. And then what I'll do for you guys is I'm also going to show you the full lineup and the specs, how it differs to the older version. And if you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to do a more in-depth comparison between the 98 and 100, or you want me to get the V-Core back out and test the V-Core versus this, I'm happy to do it. But let me take you through my thoughts today in this video, and just leave a comment and let me know if you want anything more. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, let's start with the cosmetics and an overview. For those of you eagle-eyed viewers, you will already notice that the throat looks distinctly different to the old version, and we will talk about that in detail. But in terms of colors, this is a more grayish lime yellow versus the older version, which had a darker black and more brighter yellow feel to it. I actually preferred the color scheme of the old one. I think most people do prefer this one, however. But the more important thing is how does it play? So let me share some initial thoughts with you guys, and then I'm going to break it down from a baseline perspective, from my ground strokes, volleys, and even points, and then give you more technical details later on. Now, first things first, as you can see here, I didn't have any issues just picking up this new version and hitting with it. It did feel pretty easy to swing. And so that's a big kind of plus anytime you test out a new racket. It's not surprising because if you read about the new version online, it is designed to be more maneuverable. And given the technology changes and the change to the throat, for example, you are meant to be able to swing this racket a bit more. It should be a little bit more aerodynamic. Technically, I think it's 6% more aerodynamic. But I want to keep the marketing speak to a minimum in this video because I want to give you my honest thoughts. So that was the first thought. But then what about at the baseline? Because that really matters more than the mini tennis. So when I took a step back or a couple step backs and started hitting with the racket, there were a few things I noticed. First of all, whilst it is easy to swing and get a nice high arc on your balls and good spin generation, because I play with a power racket, I did feel that this was very much a spin racket focused on feel and control versus other spin rackets that maybe still give you a really big punch. So if you're someone who still wants to play with a really powerful racket that gives you spin, maybe this one is not the spin racket for you. But if you're someone who wants a spin racket and really wants to feel the ball in the pocket, feel it on the strings, feel the racket really reacting to those shots, then maybe this one's the one for you. And so this is what's interesting about the baseline. I found it easy to swing, but I found that I was swinging way faster because there was less power than what I'm used to. Now, if you go online and read the marketing lingo, you'll get different takes on this. But let's talk specifically about the specs of the Pure Aero 100 first. So for this racket, what you're gonna get is a 100 square inch head, of course. You then have a 300 gram weight, which is, again, of course, expected. Nothing has changed there. It's 27 inches in length, has a string pattern of 16 by 19, unlike the 98, which is a 16 by 20. The strung weight is approximately 318 grams on the 100. The unstrung weight, like I said, is 300. And the stiffness in general of this racket versus the last model has gone up. And that's actually a intentional change on the part of Babolat. I think across the lineup, it's closer to 69 or 70 when it comes to stiffness. Now, what's really interesting is that I've read reviews online where it says the new version is more stable and it's actually less soft. And then on the flip side, I've heard other people speak about the racket on their reviews and say, I swear this feels softer. I think it feels softer personally than the previous racket. I think it gives you less power than the previous 2023 model. But again, It's very personal, so you may pick up this version and have a completely different opinion. You also have to keep in mind that your opinion on this racket is going to depend on what racket you currently play with. I play with power rackets, so of course I'm going to come from a different starting point. But let's get really specific. I want to go away from the marketing lingo, like I said, and talk to you about the feeling on specific strokes for my game personally. And if I can be really honest and keep it real with you guys, I struggled on the forehand. Being someone who relies on having only one decent shot in my game, being the forehand, I want to really whack the ball. I want my racket to do a lot of the work and give me the power. And I had to swing way more to even try to replicate the power with this Pure Aero, because I think it is more oriented to pure spin and then feel and control versus spin and power, like I said earlier. Now, that makes me a little hesitant to swap to this racket because of how reliant I am on my forehand. And as a result of me trying to swing faster and get that power, you can see me shank a fair few. Now, I always shank my shots. That's nothing special. I'm a specialist in shanking. But it happened a little bit more on the forehand, which is a bit unusual. However, this is where I love the Pure Aero. And maybe you guys can help explain this. My backhand is way better. Because my backhand is weaker, maybe the power rackets I play with are not good for me. Maybe I can't control them. Whereas on the Pure Aero, I get really nice spin, I get a really nice trajectory, and I can really swing through my backhand and not have the ball go crazy off the court. So it's really weird because if you asked me, hey, would you swap to this new Pure Aero from your current setup? I'd say, hey, on the forehand, absolutely not. But on the backhand, I arguably hit my best backhands with this. So I don't know. But now let's move on to the volleys. What I'll say about the volleys is that you're going to feel the ball on that racket, right? Like I said, there's a great kind of like feel and control element to it. Did I hit the best volleys with this racket? No. But where do I think this would excel? Touch and feel, right? If you're going to be really cute and subtle with your volleys, you're going to go for placement, you're going to maybe play a couple really clever drop volleys or angle volleys, I can see it do well. Now let me share with you some points footage to bring this all together. And whilst we watch this, look at this right off the bat. I don't hit backhand winners like that. So again, just being able to swing this racket, the aerodynamic feel, the fact that it gives you a lot of control. For me on my backhand, it was really good. But on the forehand, like I said, a little bit more of a struggle. And then approaching the net, it was okay. That was, a relatively light put away. So these are some of my initial thoughts. I'm going to have another few minutes of just me playing points, just so you guys can see this. And I'm going to explain what I was feeling in these individual points. Again, you guys can go to a number of other reviews if you want to get, all the technical specs and the reviews and the material used. But I just want to give you a more honest feel about how the racket feels in my hands, because that's what I think I'm most qualified to speak on personally. Now, let's just talk about the serve, because I'm playing points here and I'm serving with the Pure Aero 26, right? The 100 square inch model. I will say that I struggled a little bit on the serve. Again, because it was not giving me the pop that I'm used to with a power racket, I felt like either I had to swing really, really hard, which I don't want to do because my body's broken and my shoulder is like made of Weetabix. So I prefer a racket on the serve that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for me. This didn't feel like that. But again, there are trade-offs with every racket. My second serve felt more comfortable. It gave me more natural spin and control. And so when I whipped through my second serve, I actually probably made only 1 or 2 double faults on the day. And honestly, that was when I was just being lazy and not focusing. So throughout the point session, I don't really think I hit plenty of proper first serves. I was either hitting a relatively fast second serve or a very spinny second serve, because that was me trying to react to the racket and how I think I should play with the racket to get the best out of it for me. Again, you might have a different feel. I will say though, when I used the 2023 version, it was the same feeling. I wasn't a huge fan of the Pure Aero on my serve, but even with the 2023, it was like, okay, forehands are okay, but backhand, again, is where they really, really excel for me as a lineup and as a range. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you've already played with it, I really want to hear your thoughts. If you use the older version, are you intrigued to change to the new version? What do you like and dislike about the old version? At the end of the day, this is really a community, and the more opinions we can get and the more comments I can get on the video, the better off you guys will all be, because you can share those thoughts with each other and not just rely on what I'm saying, because ultimately that is a very, very personal opinion. I could be biased. I could be skewed by my muscle memory of what I'm used to when I hold a racket, which isn't the Pure Aero, which, as you guys know, for me is the E-Zone. And speaking of the E-Zone, one thing I will say that's really funny, a lot of the reviews online, a lot of the videos and written articles I've seen actually kind of specifically call out how this Pure Aero is a little bit more like the E-Zone than the prior version, especially with the change in the shape of the racket and that throat. So that's no surprise. You know, racket companies are always going to look at what's popular in the market and maybe make changes. Finally, a good forehand there. I think that was like one of two winners. But now, let me tell you some details about the full lineup details throughout the range, just so you guys have it and I've covered it off. So let's start first with the Pure Aero 98 square inches, 305 grams in weight, stiffness rating of about 70, 27 inches in length, and a string pattern of 16 by 20. The 100, as I've already mentioned, of course, 100 square inches, 300 grams in weight, a stiffness rating closer to 69, 27 inches in length, and a 16 by 19 string pattern. Then you have the Pure Aero Plus. This is also 100 square inches and 300 grams, stiffness rating also of 69, but this is longer. This is 27 and a half inches in length, while maintaining a 16 by 19 string pattern. So a few differences right there off the bat. Then there's the Pure Aero Team, which is 100 square inches, but only 285 grams in weight. Again, a stiffness rating of 70 and a 16 by 19 string pattern. You have the Pure Aero Light, 100 square inches, even lighter at 270 grams, stiffness rating of about 70 and a 16 by 19 string pattern. And last but not least, the Pure Aero S Lite, 100 square inches, 255 grams in weight, and a 70 on the stiffness rating with a 16 by 19 string pattern. So that is currently what we know about the lineup of the rackets. Of course, I only predominantly use the 100 today. If you want me to look at the other rackets and do more reviews, compare them across other models and brands, just let me know in the comments. I will do whatever you guys think makes sense and what you want to see. But thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please leave your comments and feedback because it is so helpful. Thanks so much.